Now we're going to spend the next 5 minutes or so in this inspector because there is a lot more that you can do with it. I'm just going to come to a different folder here. I need one that's got a variety of different file types. I think this is the one I set up. Yep, it is. Okay, let's see what we can do with the inspector then. So first of all, we can see extended information. So if I just pick this image file here, you'll see underneath information, we've got a lot in here out of the box. I've got standard file information there. Then we've got extra bits like dimensions, resolution, etc. Then some more information below that, like device model, aperture value, ISO speed, and more. Now, for most users, this is going to be more than enough. However, if you're a professional photographer, you may want to see yet more. Well, back in settings, then down here, we have a section called Extended Information. And the developer has added one in here for us called EXIF Information. And I'll check this. And with this checked, when I look at an image file again, I'm going to see a lot more info. And if I click Edit here, you'll see why. So up here, we have the name of this checkbox, which we've just seen. And below that, we've got the rules that determine which type of files this should apply to. And we can see it says clearly only when the file type is an image file. If it's an image file, Bloom is going to run the below bash script. And it's a very simple one. If you've got the EXIF tool command installed on your Mac, it's going to run. Simple. So I'm going to confirm here, then close settings. And let's choose another file. In here, we're going to take a look at the inspector pane. And I'm going to click Show Less on the standard information section here. And you can see below our new section called EXIF Information. Well, I'm going to scroll down and a bit further down, further still. And you see how much extra information we've got here. It's kind of insane. And all of this from that one script. Now, if you like, you can create different scripts for different file types to show different information. And I'm going to pause and set up an example for you now. Okay, here we go. Now this example is going to show the word count of a file in the inspector. So I've called it word count information. And you can see the rule is set up here to only show this information if any of the below parameters are true. So the extension is either going to be pages or the file type is going to be a text file. And the reason I've got two in here is that pages files aren't recognized by the system as text files because they can contain images. If using Word files as well, you'd probably need a condition in here for files with that extension too. Now, I've written a simple-ish script here that simply pulls out the line count, the word count, character count, and the time to read, as well as the file size there at the bottom. And when I say I've written this, well, of course I haven't. I asked Claude, my AI service of choice, to write this for me. I simply said that my goal was to have a bash script that displays word count information in the Bloom inspector, and it gave me this. So you could go ahead and think of your own examples of any file metadata that you'd like to see. So let's see if this one works. First of all, I can see the word count information section is there. So I'll close this. Select a different file. We just have the basic information at the moment. And that's because if I come back into settings, I need to check this box here to enable it. Then I'll close. And when I come to a different file, down here, we have our word count information. I can see the lines, the words, the characters. Not too sure on that read time. I probably need to tweak that piece of the script a bit. But you see how you can create your own information sections here in the inspector with a little bit of imagination and coding or AI prompting. There's so much scope for you. Okay, that's extended information. And the next set of goodies that we're going to reveal in the inspector are actions. So we've got a pages file selected here, and you can see a list of actions dependent on the file type that is selected. So only a few here. And the first one is send to, which quickly opens up the file in any of the named applications there. Then to the right of that, we have compress. And you can see, as quick as anything, it's created a zip file up here containing our file. Then if I select it again, the last option we have is share, which I won't click, but it opens up the share sheet, just as you would expect. Now, this is the minimal number of actions that you're going to expect to see. If I come to a different file type, so what do I think I want a video file. So I'll come over to this folder and open it. I've locked the panel, haven't I? So I'm going to open it in this bottom right-hand one. There we are. Now let's click on the MP4 file. And you can see we've got a couple more options in here. So send to and compress appear for nearly all files. But I can click here to do a one-click conversion to a .mov file. And there we are. That took no time at all. If I come across, of course, it's the same size. Nothing has changed there. Whereas if I select convert to M4A, well, that's an audio only file. It converted again incredibly quickly. This one is only 23 meg in size, and it's kept our source file, but just created a new converted copy. So that's video files. But what about if I come up here and click on an image one? Well, we've got even more to play with here. So send to is here, of course, but we now have rotate, which is going to flip it 90 degrees at a time. And then we have a resize button. Now what this does, this opens a special resize sorcery window that allows us to manipulate the file from within Bloom. So the name is up here. You can create multiple new files with different sizes here too. We're just going to stick with just one though. And I want to make this a square. So this is going to be 1024 by 1024. And you can see it's not taking that at the moment. It's locked because it's keeping the aspect ratio for the image. But if I click on the padlock here, I can set my own custom figures in here to make it square. Now you can see it's stretched just a little bit there. Now, if you want to reduce or enlarge by a fixed percentage, you can click here and change that. And then down here, we've got options for the scaling mode. And you can flick this toggle dependent on whether you want the new size appended to the file name. I think I'll keep that and click apply. And here is our new resized image. Again, it's kept the source and it hasn't changed it. So if we're not happy, we can always go back to the original file, which I will do now. In fact, no, let's choose this one here. I'm going to come across and check the file size. So it's currently 1.3 meg there. Well, if I come down here and click optimize, it's going to optimize it and reduce the size. Although that wasn't a good example. That was quite small as it was. It hasn't reduced it at all. But never mind, let's find a larger file. So this one here, this one's 5.9 meg. I'm going to come down and I'm going to optimize this one. And there we are. Look at that. Over a 50% reduction in size there. Okay, back down now to our actions. And we've got compress, of course. We can convert the file to a PNG file or a WebP1. And we can also create a PDF from it as well. Now, just like with information, where we could configure extended information items, we can also set up extended actions. The bottom section is for our extended actions. And one is there by default again, which will carry out an advanced compression of a movie file. So if I go into edit here, we can see up here it is just for movie files. And it's going to run the ffmpeg terminal command within this script to do an advanced compress. So if I was to come out and then select a video file again, sure enough, there is our new action here. Now, like last time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause and I'm going to get an action created that I use at least twice a week in Bloom as an example. Okay, let's have a bit of context behind this. And I have explained this in a previous video. However, every time I record or edit a show, I need to get a copy of the icon for that application. And the dimensions for it need to be 1024 by 1024. Now, when I download one using the shortcut that I use, like this one here for ActiveAS, it comes down as 512 by 512. And it always has that as its name. We can see the dimensions are there. Now, I could, of course, use the resize action to manually do this, and that works well, but I want to be able to click a button and do it, and at the same time for it to be renamed as well. So that button should be down here. Well, if I go into settings, down here you can see that I've created a new action called convert 1024 by 1024. And if I click edit, you can see what's in here. So this one will just appear if it's an image file. And I got Claude to write me a bash script All I asked for was a script that converts an image file to 1024 by 1024 and prompt me to name it. Nothing too laborious, but not something that I could write myself. So I click confirm and then check here to enable this. I'll close and then just come back into this file to refresh the inspector for it. And if I come down here, we can see we've got our new action. So I'll click. It's prompting me for the file name. So I'll put that new one in. It's going to be scom1540.png and it's done. It keeps the original file, but down here I can see my new one. It's named correctly, and in the inspector I can see the new dimensions. Now this is just a very simple example of a one-click action, but I'm sure if you think about it, you'll be able to find some multi-step processes that you have to carry out on files regularly, and then you can see if you can get a script written and set up an action. There is so much scope for you.